Welcome back to the Arts Department, everyone. I'm Autumn Turkel, and this video is working from reference. Really all this is a progression of a few drawings that I did working from reference from the reference materials that I sell over on ArtStation. Take a look in the About section below and you'll find a link there. It's pretty straightforward. It's starting with some references and working our way up to deviating from those references. So without further ado, let's get going. So as you can see, just blocking out the major masses here, trying to set it to be 1-to-1, which means set the image to be the exact size that I'm going to draw it in, and that way I can look at the relationships and just mimic the relationships on the page. It makes it easier for interpreting what I see in a semi-realistic fashion. So I'm just blocking out the major masses right now and taking care of a little bit of the shadow shapes. You can see I put a core shadow in there and just worked around transforming some of the things and getting the relationships right. Like I said, we're going to start with doing a somewhat realistic take, and then as we get further along, we are going to deviate further and further from the reference, but using it as a foundation. So you can see there is a little bit of playing with shape, not being hyper real about it, but trying to push things slightly. So a little bit bigger on the features, a little bit more wild on the hair, that sort of thing. Just getting all those shadow shapes in there, and then glazing in some skin tone, and then we're moving on to the next image. With this one, I'm going to be pushing, like I said, further from the image and elongating some shapes, making her waist a little more slim, maybe making her features a little more prominent. You can see I make much longer legs, and I'm not working at 1-to-1 anymore, so that I can automatically make the adjustments, and I'm not moving backwards trying to adjust it to look just like the image. So I started on this one at the base of the figure, and you can see, because that's where she's contacting the ground. Generally, it's good to start somewhere that's going to be a problem point for you. So overlapping shapes or where the weight is on the figure. Either way, it's going to help you to address the hard points first, and then you can move your way forward from there, and then adjust as you see fit. You can see I brought in her waist, made her rib cage a bit smaller, made her head a little bit bigger, pushing those forms into a more whimsical state. So I'm taking the fundamentals of what's there, the pose, the lighting, and the gesture of the entire thing, and pushing it further to be something with a little more shape design. So like with the other images, my first inclination was to flesh out the exteriors of the form, the silhouette for the most part. And then I started to come back in and find those shadow shapes and just lightly dust them in. So I wasn't looking for something that was hugely tonal and that was super painterly. I was just looking for stuff that could indicate light direction, give it some light logic, and flesh out some of the forms a little bit more than just having the silhouette of the form. And then I did one last pass to kind of bring everything together and make it kind of stylish, and then moved on to the next one. So for this last one, I wanted to slow it down. And by slow it down, I mean I wanted to slow down the video so that you can see that this stuff doesn't really happen quickly. You can get some of the basic stuff in, and then you have to slow down to get to the final product. So I put in a few minutes here of the initial sketch so that you can see what the pace is actually like, because there's too many videos of all of this sped up artwork and people get the wrong impression that this stuff happens quickly. So here's a little bit of the process for the fundamental sketch on this next one, which we're actually going to take all the way up to inked and colored finish by the end of it. So this first few minutes is just working out the shape dynamics, the way that those shapes interact with each other in relationship to one another to bring about a more whimsical character, even pushed even further than the previous one. And you can see on this one that I'm really working out the line work. I'm thinking about what those lines are going to do as far as thick and thin, and where the shadow lines are going to go, meaning like a line that cuts under a form, and where the lighter lines are going to go, and really trying to push those shapes further without breaking them, of course, without making it awkward or weird. then once I got that to the point that I thought I could ink over it, we're going to speed this up a little bit, just to rush through this last part. So once I've pushed further and further away from the reference, I'm just coming in. I'm gonna lay in some quick inks, just being aware of the line quality, thinking about the line quality and the character and where the light source is coming from and all those sorts of things as I'm fleshing it out and making it a final ink drawing. So you can see that I further went into the shape design and pushed it even more when I got into the ink, because that's the final shape. So with the pencil quote unquote drawing, I pushed it past the reference, and I got some whimsical shape dynamics and interactions between the forms. And then with the ink, when I came back in, I made sure that those forms were further designed, even down to the interactions of the smaller shapes to one another. And then I came in and started to do some tone, and that was a single value tone, but then I added in a darker dark for the hair. And then I added in some colors via a gradient map. Then I added in some lights and called it a night. That was it for my stream. I did all of those within, I think, the course of about a 2.5 or 3 hour stream. And if you're into it, drop by and say hi. We're over at Twitch TV/ARTorkel, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's it for this video. I hope you found some value in it. If you did, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do everything you need to do to get notified next time we post something up. And check down in the About section for the social media. You can find Instagram, Twitter, ArtStation, where you can find those references that we work from. There's also a Discord link if you want to join us and have some art discussions or just generalized shenanigans. We have a pretty fun community. That's it from the arts department. Keep drawing, and we'll see you next time.